Hey everyone, it's Alex and Matt here from Powder7. We are here at our headquarters, our world headquarters in Golden, Colorado, and we are coming to show you our selection of big mountain Freeride skis, kind of some top picks for this upcoming season for 2026. And I have to say, it's probably a good bet that this is our staffers' favorite category out of all of them.
This is the group of skis that we like to talk about the most. And so many of our customers are like, why do you ski those every day?
Yeah. You could kind of call this, I like to think about out here for kind of the terrain we like to ski. It's almost kind of like a wide all mountain category. We're generally looking at 102 to about 112 plus or minus some. Just really kind of sneaking in between those all mountain skis that are going to be really versatile for firm snow and groomers, between powder skis that are like kind of purpose built for that. These are going to be great if you love, instead of spending most of your time on trail, you're going to the far reaches of the boundary lines at the resorts to try to find a little bit of soft snow. If you're looking for little things to jump off of, little cliffs, or just a soft snow skier.
Yeah, just like the all mountain category, how there's a lot of variety from the narrowest end of the spectrum to the widest end. Here you'll get some borderline powder skis, and then you'll also get some skis that some people would describe as more all mountain oriented. So there's a lot of variety packed in this mid-fat category. Maybe not as much as all mountain, but still a lot to talk about, a lot of differences between the skis.
Yeah. Why don't you pick your, speaking of variety, pick your most versatile that you see.
Wow, what a buzzword. Versatile. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's this guy, the Atomic Maverick 105 CTI. And so this ski, when you look at the shape, and if you know anything about the Maverick family, this is Atomic's take on a little bit more directionally oriented all mountain ski in the narrower waist widths, and then big mountain and Freeride ski here at the 105 and the wider powder oriented 115. So Atomic updated these skis a couple of years ago, going away from the 100 Ti and switching that over to this 105 CTI. So instead of the full sheets of metal that we saw in the first edition of the Mavericks, the 105 CTI gives you a blend of metal and carbon in the build. They still feel really light on snow. The carbon and metal blend kind of gives you a good mix of torsional rigidity and stability with a lot of lively energy. And so they obviously, like I mentioned, do have a fairly directional shape. Not for this category, not a lot of tail rocker. More of a gentle splay also compared to a lot of skis in the category. But the reason I pick these when given the most versatile prompt is, so many skis in this category are trying to excel in soft snow and be really surfy and playful. And then when that soft snow gets chopped up or like refrozen, or if you're in steep bumps that are like dust on crust and you've got some ice under your feet, a lot of skis in this category can become a little bit unruly or a little less predictable when the going gets a little bit spicier. And so I've always liked that the Maverick gives you some metal in the build for handling some of that sketchier snow and sketchier terrain. But per Atomic, you've got your Horizon 3D design in the tips, which gives you a lot of float, really light swing weight, a lot of tip taper as well. So the shape, deep rocker line, tip taper, real surfy, really easy to link if you're smearing through soft snow or cruddy snow, or if you're just carving on groomers. And then for the firmer snow, for ski and groomers, trying to use this ski as an all-mountain day-to-day ski if you just want one and you live in deeper snow places. It holds up. Carves awesome. It's lively. It's got a bunch of backbone.
Yeah, it's really predictable.
Yeah, and it's really reliable and predictable. But because it doesn't feel super bulky, it can be pretty precise too.
Yeah. The women's version of this ski is going to be the Maven 103 CTI. And I haven't ridden the Maverick, but been on the Maven quite a bit. And to me, that ski feels really turny. Like there's something about the tip shape and the taper that just feels like it wants to take pretty quick turns. Is that your feeling on this ski as well?
Yeah, it's got a medium radius at 18 meters. So that's not super, super turny. And it's also not super straight. So I think that's a really nice sweet spot for this category where if you want to back off or you do want to make just like short skidded turns or if you want to ski bumps, they do feel really turny, especially if you're a strong person driving the fronts of your boots.
Mhm.
These, compared to a lot of other metal skis, these don't feel like they're going to drive you.
Totally.
So because like if you give them the input, they do feel really turny. But then if you want to kind of stand on them and really lean into them, they can make those longer arcs because they got that medium radius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Does that kind of mirror your experience with the Maven?
Yeah, definitely. The Maven does have a lighter kind of construction to it, really similar dimensions and all of that. It has metal in it and the carbon weave and all of that good stuff, but a lighter wood core for sure. So I think lighter weight riders are going to really love that Maven for being easy to like reel back in if you get into the back seat, or just keep you from getting like beat up on a really heavy double laminate metal ski.
Totally.
So I would love to try the Maverick out though, and especially the 115, because I would be curious. You don't get that many like big POW directional skis like that.
Big ski, big fun.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's your most versatile option?
Oh, my most versatile option. You're gonna flip it on me now. I gotta go with the K2 Mindbender 106C. There's an argument for a couple other ones up there, but I'm just going to choose this one because this is kind of like my go-to recommendation for folks looking for their first wider set of skis or are looking for something that really hits the sweet spot of just being a perfect all-around ski. Nothing too chargy, nothing too playful. It has just a carbon weave construction, no metal in this bad boy. But you do get this kind of like, obviously a lot more rocker than in the Maverick, but it's still kind of a directional shape. Your mount point is not truly center by any means. It's kind of like set back a little bit, probably in that -6 territory. You got a healthy amount of like deep rocker here, but it's pretty low slung for a while. Not a ton of splay like you're gonna see on that M Free or that Bacon or this Bent. And then a ton of tip rocker with, again, not a ton of splay. So when you've got the ski on edge and you're dealing with dust on crust like you talk about, or if you're on groomer skiing fast, it actually does feel pretty precise and solid. Doesn't feel like it's going to wash out on you. Doesn't feel like it's lending itself to like pivots or a really centered ski stance as its priority, but it can kind of do that. And it's just got a really like predictable construction. It's really planted without feeling very heavy. They use flax in this ski, and I'm obsessed with flax as a ski construction ingredient. It's just it just really helps quiet the ski without adding much weight.
And as a smoothie ingredient.
Right. It's good for your bones, your immune system. I made that up. So it adds a lot of the things I think folks are looking for from like a chargier metal laminate ski without adding any of that weight or like kind of like needing to be balls to the wall and like pressuring the shovel super hard all the time, doing fall line turns. It's going to let you play around with your turn shapes, your ski style that day. It's just a really like versatile option.
Totally.
In my opinion.
And to one of your comments about some of the other skis on the wall, you could almost say like the Maverick is to the Benchettlers as the Mindbender is to like the Reckoners. Like you get like you've got the more playful option in these lines, and not to spoil the later segments, but more playful options. But then these are kind of the ones that a lot of people are looking at who really want to care about even performance across the whole mountain, caring a little bit less about like popping off things and jibbing around, and just want a solid performing ski everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in a trend I'm starting to see is like kind of referring to skis as freestyle oriented or like freestyle inspired. And that's where you get that like bent 110 Reckoner influence. Whereas this is kind of more in that like free ride category of needing to be versatile for like sketchy snow conditions and like wanting to ski fast on groomed terrain and ski with a more fall line style rather than being focused on pivoting or skiing switch and things like that. So
totally.
But I love this ski. One of the staffers here, Powder7, has been on like 3 pairs of this. She loves this ski, and not 3 pairs because she keeps breaking them, but 3 pairs because she just wants the updated graphic on them because she loves the ski so much. So I can't blame her. It's a great one.
Sure does. Give me another prompt, Alex.
Another prompt?
We're playing prompts now. You started it.
Show me your most fun ski. The guy who's wearing a party shirt or ordering like Mai Tais at the
Woo.
Christmas party.
Wow. I mean, it's kind of got to be
Really?
the John Wayne special here.
Sure, yeah.
This is the Icelantic Nomad 106. After many years, Icy revamped the entire Nomad collection a year ago, and they went with these Western graphics, the Western graphic theme, which they bring back in these Nomads for this season. And so that redesign focused a lot on making these skis just feel more lively on snow. I think the previous versions were really fun, but especially when you ski them back to back with these new versions, you feel much more of an energy, a poppiness, and this is a ski that people have been taking in the park for a long time, like out here in Colorado especially. And so profiling these skis as like an all mountain freestyle ski makes a lot of sense, especially with the updates they made. So a little more camber. You've got more pop and energy in these skis. I find the flex to be really nice and consistent throughout the ski, which would be on like the softer side of medium. But I've skied them down pretty chunky, firm bumps and a chunky and firm wiggle at Monarch Mountain in the spring, and
like a constructive
wiggle. Yeah. And I think
you meant wiggles generally.
it's for sure a ski that's more on the playful end of the spectrum, per your question. But that nice consistent suspension and flex doesn't feel like you're gonna get bucked and sent for a wild ride. As a playful ski, it feels like you can count on it. You know what it's going to do. It's predictable once you figure it out, but you just get a lot of life and energy from the Nomad.
Yeah. I was super impressed when I got on the Maiden 102 when we got to ski the redesigns, and I just love that ski so much. I think it's such a perfect ski for women looking to like progress off trail and looking for their like first big mountain ski, because it's just really intuitive and like you said, that nice even suspension while holding up on groom terrain, and just like being able to like be fairly precise on firm snow despite like all of this like obvious deep rocker and splay. It's just a really fun, intuitive freeride ski. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep. So big ups for Icy. I love what they did with Nomad and Maiden.
Yeah, you got this like cool little Riders on the Storm vibe.
Yeah.
Also,
top sheets are always on. They always hit for Icy.
So. For sure. Well, I'll do my party ski. I think it's got to be the Revolt 104. Yeah. There's, again, multiple options to choose. But I'm committed here now. The Revolt 104 hasn't been updated in a while as far as I know, but it is consistently one of the most popular skis among our staffers here. Revolt family kind of calls back to a lot of like that freestyle origins on Volkl's kind of park side, and it kind of puts that freestyle chassis on like a wider surface area. So 104 underfoot, you've got a really progressive mount point, and then all of this like classic Volkl like deep slung rocker. But I'm looking at it right now, like the contact point's like right here and right here, back here. So you've got a lot of room to swivel and wiggle and pivot. But what's cool is it still feels like a Volkl in that it's really quiet. Like I was pretty impressed when I skied this, that it was kind of a man-made snow, like kind of granular day, and despite this being like a very progressive ski, it does not feel like a noodle by any means. But I'm gonna hand flex it right now and watch it probably bend a ton. Not crazy though, like it's bendy, but definitely underfoot you have a bit of rigidity, especially when the ski's tilted and on edge. You feel pretty supportive right underneath your feet, whereas the ends of the ski can really bend and lend themselves to butters and presses and skiing switch and all of that fun stuff. So it's just an all-around fun ski.
We always say probably too many times that like it skis like a Volkl.
Yeah.
Like it's purple, it's the athlete collection. It still skis like a Volkl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always have a blast on it. I don't think you can't have fun on that ski.
Yeah. I think it's ideal for people who ski with a playful style but don't need something super soft. They want something with a little bit of backbone right underneath your feet, but you still like to ski with a centered stance. Maybe like to throw a few wiggles and flip around and ski switch and things like that. So
Yeah, real drifty,
yeah,
schmeary.
totally.
Yeah.
Like a very low to the snow feel, like low center of gravity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna skip your prompt. I'm gonna jump your prompt and just go to one that I'm really excited about and I want to talk about it because it's new. So this is the Armada ARV 106 Ti. So ARV 106 has been in the Armada collection for quite some time. It's kind of a heritage all-mountain freestyle ski for them. And so the 106 brings metal into ARV, hence the Ti in the name. So I love the ARV 106 because of how the metal is positioned in this ski. If you're familiar with like the first iteration of the Blizzard Rustler, where we had metal under your foot, like a metal laminate under your foot that you could see in the top sheet, and it extended toward the tips and toward the tails and then tapered out. It has since gone away in Rustler. They've moved the metal around in that ski, and that is the gist of the construction in the ARV 106 Ti. And so what I love about that is that if you're standing on this ski, driving it, pushing it, you've got some solid rigidity under your foot. You've got a lot of liveliness. And then you've also got a really low swing weight, tips and tails. This is an Armada, so you got a bunch of splay in the tails. It's definitely a ski you can pop and jib around and jump with because you've got a really progressive flex through the tips and tails. Buttering is totally in on these skis, even though there's metal. And it all rounds out to like a really balanced performance, kind of wherever you take it. And so it matches my style quite a bit, where I really like feeling planted to the snow under my feet and kind of gluing to a fall line and skiing down the fall line. But then because I have a little bit of like schizophrenia probably, if I see something I want to go slash or jump off of, this is a quickly responding change of direction ski where you can go from locked into the fall line to like playing around and like spraying your buddies kind of on a dime.
Mm-hmm. I think when we showed the testers the new ARV 106 last year, so like under what didn't you like? The only thing would be like chattery at high speeds, or like if it's like super, super icy out, you weren't going to get like some stability. You were going to lack some stability. This solves all that problems.
Yeah,
right.
And I think it solves those problems without taking away all of the fun character.
Right.
Like obviously with the metal, there's a little more weight and it's a little bit more, more to manage compared to the non-metal version, but it still has that DNA of like a all-mountain, mid-fat freestyle ski, just with a little bit more power to it.
Mm-hmm.
So big ups for me. It's actually one of my favorite skis of the year, which kind of came out of nowhere and surprised me.
Yeah, and we always love getting surprised.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a ski that surprised me maybe then. I'll talk about the new Headcore 106 Ti. Pretty snazzy. We have a whole new Headcore collection for this year, which is really exciting. This ski replaces the old Core 105, which always cracked me up because that ski I feel like had like no tail rocker behind it. And so with the new Core redesign, we get a little bit more rocker in the tip and tail, and actually like quite a bit more in the tail than I had kind of anticipated. More camber and different construction. They add metal to this ski instead of the kind of lightweight graphene based construction that they had before. So this ski gains a little bit of weight, but it also gains, I think, a heck of a lot of performance for choppy snow. It's just smoother, it's quieter. The old Core was very lightweight, and with that really directional shape, it was really precise. But it kind of needed, even though it was light, it was very stiff. So it needed a pretty experienced pilot to be like pressuring shovels in a really precise way. And it supported that, but it was, again, light. So if you were going through like some heavy chop, I feel like it could get deflected a little bit. Or if you ran into like a bump funny, you could kind of get bucked a little bit because it was so uniformly stiff. This one has a really nice round flex, stiffer through the tails for sure, but especially through the tip of the ski, it's much more progressive and honestly forgiving. But that extra heft with the metal really allows you to charge with the ski quite a bit. So I think it's a great option for a skier who likes to ski with a fall line style, who likes to charge around the mountain, is going fast through heavy chop, because it's going to give you that performance you need, but it has like a few flares with that rocker and the liveliness that make it still not just like a total tank. It's got some energy and some like a fun flair to it.
Yeah, they added metal, they added weight, but in a lot of ways I feel skiability is like a word that everybody who talks about skis tosses around, and like, what in the world does it mean? I think the skiability here for a wide variety of people, and just how intuitive it feels on snow, has really gone up from the old versions, I think. So that a little bit more of a progressive flex pattern plus the metal, I love what they did with Core.
Yeah, I think this ski makes a lot more sense in this waist width. Before, I think it was like kind of for a very specific person with that old 105. And like you said, it just opens up this ski for so many more people, both who are looking to ski more aggressively with the extra weight, and also people who ski with a little bit more flair with all of this extra rocker. Now you can kind of slash if you want to, like you were saying with the ARV, being able to kind of spray your friends or do a quick pivot. Since it is pretty directional still, and like, it's not a soft ski, I still think this leans on the more advanced skier end of things. But it just isn't so locked into such like a precise directional style as much as the old one was.
Yeah, I've always think there's something to be said for adding a little bit of weight to add a little bit of confidence. Like weight can mean that you're getting driven by the ski, right? If you're like off your game, or you're in the back seat, or you're exhausted. But weight can also mean you're planted to your line, you're powering through stuff rather than getting bounced around.
Totally.
And I think that's a big improvement.
Yeah, they track so well through choppy snow.
Yeah.
And I should add, there is a ladies version, the Headcore 104 Ti. These skis are unisex in that they come in a full size run, but if you want a slightly lighter version and in kind of those shorter women's oriented sizes, you can look at that Headcore 104.
Right on.
And it's white. It's very pretty.
Speaking of colors, I'm going to take us to the next purple ski on the wall, the Blizzard Perpetrator, aka the Anomaly 102.
That's not what it's called. Yeah.
Maybe it should be. Anomaly 102 is the widest ski in Blizzard's Anomaly collection that they introduced last year, replacing you could say this kind of replaces the Cochise by default, because that was the widest ski in the Brahma Bonafide and Cochise. 102 underfoot versus 106. But you get, similarly, a gas pedal, full speed ahead, Mach 5 kind of mid-fat ski. So if you're not familiar with kind of the marketing smoke on the Anomaly collection, what Blizzard did was they essentially use inside the ski 3 pieces of metal, kind of adds up to like 2 sheets like they had in Brahma Bonafide Cochise. But where they position the metal and how they cut it means the metal's able to shear. The sheets are able to shear against each other. So when you drive these skis, go to high edge angles, or just push them hard down like firm chutes or inconsequential terrain, you get a powerful ski that is planted and definitely requires you to drive it. So for sure not an intermediate ski. But when you want to change up your turn shape or the size of your turns, and you want this to be more like an all mountain ski, where you can like take it through bumps or ski it a little bit slower, it doesn't beat you up like a 2x4, 2 sheets of metal, more of a traditional ski could, and the way some people felt about like the way Brahma and Bonafide had gone. And so in a 102 waist, it's definitely not a ski that everyone out there is looking for. It's pretty niche. Someone who wants a mid-fat ski that is very directional in shape, with very minimal tail rocker, a directional mount point. Not everybody's looking for this ski, but if you are someone who is looking for it, in my opinion, it's my favorite one on the market for doing what it does. I own a pair, and so it's my cruddy snow, or just like hauling and charging, non-powdery bumps as fast as you can for an afternoon type of ski. So I love having it in my quiver, and I like talking about it.
Do you feel like it ever feels like it kind of cusps our all mountain to big mountain kind of categories. So if you're skiing at like a wide all mountain ski, does it ever feel like bulky in bumps to you or like sluggish at all?
Totally. Like if you skied this after like the Anomaly 94, of course this will just feel like much more work, clunky and more cumbersome than that ski, and like it will beat you up more than that ski will because there's more going on here. I think if you ski it next to some of the wider skis in this category, even the ones without metal, I would argue that if you're an athletic person and a strong skier, I would prefer to be on this one in bumps, especially non-ideal condition bumps. Like if it's powder bumps and you're on a 110 ski, you're kind of doubling and like hopping between them and goofing around and slashing the snow off the tops of some of them. With this ski, you can do that. It's definitely takes quite a bit of strength and effort to do it, but it's more of a ski where, much like an all mountain ski, you're gonna kind of pick your line and stay glued to your fall line and power through whatever gets in your way.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bridge between the two categories for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
What about you? What's like the chargiest ski on your wall? The one that bridges the gap between this category and all mountain? That way.
Let's talk about one that bridges the gaps while we're on the subject. I have a different chargier one I'll show you in a minute, but my pick has got to be the Santa Ana 102 / the Nordica Enforcer 104. I grabbed the Santa Ana 102 because I wanted to have a women-specific model up here. Most of these skis, once you get into that kind of free ride powder category, they start to get more and more unisex without a women's comparable model. They just run these in full size runs, like that ARV and the QST and the Revolt 104, the Bent 110. But we still got to have some room for the ladies, and that's where the Santa Ana 102 comes real in handy. Really similar to the Enforcer 104 in shape. You get a pretty directional shape, but with a healthy amount of rocker back here. This is a change that came from when they redesigned everything. This used to be the Santa Ana 104 Free, which had a ton of splay and tail rocker back here, and they've kind of tweaked it to make it fit in with the rest of the Santa Ana line. So you get a more like moderated tail rocker and splay, but still definitely more splay and tail rocker than your more narrow ones in the Santa Ana family. You also get, compared to the Enforcer, terrain-specific metal, whereas the Enforcer is going to have two pretty much full width sheets of metal. Santa Ana is going to have a sheet of terrain-specific metal, they call it. It's got a really cool shape. It is full width at the tip and then kind of tapers and then goes full width again, tapers and then goes full width again. So you get, I think that adds, especially compared to some skis that have partial metal, like coming all the way through here, makes this tip really quiet and track really well through choppy snow. Like this thing can just cut through stuff like a butter knife without it feeling like too much work. Because again, at slower speeds, you've got like some metal removed, so it's not as torsionally stiff and can kind of be more compliant when you're at slow speeds and in bumps. So I think it fits in solidly into the big mountain category because it has that extra surface area. It feels pretty surfy actually when you're dealing with softer snow, kind of just like cruises, and feels really quiet, is really supportive for more aggressive skiing. But it's definitely one that like I would ski every day of the year out here. I love that kind of 102 category for a daily ski in softer snow environments.
Totally. How would you, when you're talking about this category with people like in the shop, what's the line for how demanding you think the 102 is? You know, like, is it an everybody ski, like for intermediates, or where do you think you're starting to recommend that ski?
I think especially with the extra width, because you're getting more metal underfoot, like this definitely feels more demanding to me than say the Santa Ana 92, even though that one kind of has technically more metal because it's more narrow, but because there's like more metal underfoot on this one, it does feel more demanding to me. And you've got to have pressure up front all the time. It does feel a little bit heavier as well. So I put it, it's not like an experts only ski by any means, especially when you look at like a Mantra 102. Trying to think of another one. or a Kastle Paragon. There's just a few other skis that are going to be at that like expert level. I think this is more of an advanced ski. I wouldn't throw an intermediate on this. There's a lot more fun skis like that Maven 102, kind of in this waist width that are going to be more fun right away. But if you've been around the block for a while, you got good like stands with good pressure on the shovels of your skis and always pressure up front in your boots. This is a ski I think you can get used to pretty quick, but would not recommend it if you're fresh out of the gates of ski school.
Just sliding and skidding.
Yeah, it's definitely going to want some pressure up front, some more input. Another ski to compare it to would be like the Shiva 10. That ski's got more rocker, a little less metal. It just feels a little bit easier to like skid around with, whereas this one's going to lend itself to more fall line turns.
Totally.
And sized appropriately, like hard charging lady is going to love this ski for sure.
Totally. Well, let's see. I'm going to see how far different I can get from the one you pulled. And I'm going to go with the one that looks like breakfast food. This is the line Bacon 108. The line Sir Francis Bacon, of course, has been for more than a decade, like a heritage ski. Maybe their most recognizable cult classic at this point. And after all those years, they didn't think to give it a Bacon graphic until now. So the time is right.
No
Bacon,
time like the present.
Bacon 108 got redesigned ahead of last season. And so there's a lot to love in its build. Per usual for the Bacon, you've got snappy camber under your foot. You've got a pretty medium soft flex pattern. So of course it's a Bacon. It wants to jib and jump and mess around. Up front in the tips, back here in the tails, lightweight. We've got like a glass inlay here that sheds some material out of the tips and tails. Under your foot though, it's a fairly stout ski. So I think the older Bacons to the newer Bacons, the biggest difference that I always feel on snow is that these feel pretty hefty under your foot, but then extremely not hefty tips and tails in your extremities. So while we talk about some skis as like a really consistent flex pattern and feel throughout the ski, that's actually not what I feel like the Bacon feels like on snow. It feels like I am planted under my feet, but then if I want to like spin like a dreidel real quick and go over here or pop, I have the ability to do that because of how light and poppy these tips and tails are. So it's a pretty unique feel. I think it lends itself to kind of slithering your way through bump lines and then like popping off the last and throwing a spread eagle. So really it's become a more unique feeling ski, which I think is really cool, and it kind of matches having a Bacon graphic to be honest. But yeah, definitely on the more playful side in this category. I wouldn't be deterred by my comments about how stout it feels underfoot. It just kind of feels more planted right below your feet than the previous version, and then more soft and playful tip and tail potentially than the previous version.
What other Bacons are there? Are there any other Bacons?
Great question. Love where your head's at. So this is actually the narrowest Bacon. It's the most well done Bacon of the family. We've got a 115 that's going to be kind of your floppy Bacon that you don't really want on your breakfast sandwich. Doesn't give you any crunch. And then we've got a 122 fat powder Bacon that is just raw, uncooked bacon for monsters. So that's the new Bacon family from Line.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'll pick another line ski while we're at it, because why would there be two line skis in the same category? Because they give you lots of different flavors, just like there's different flavored bacon, you know? I much prefer this ski to the Bacon, personally. This is the Line Optic 104. It's got a super rad graphic this year that's perfect for content creators like us, because you get the little features right on the ski. Early rise, aspen veneer core, gas pedal metal.
5-cut.
5-cut. Isn't that cool? I've been obsessed with this ski since it came out, when it was the Line Blade Optic. Basically what Line did is they took their gas pedal metal from the Blade series, that really funny looking ski that's got a really crazy side cut to it and it's super stiff actually. It's kind of a wild ski. So they took that metal shaping and put it onto kind of more of like a Freeride chassis. So you've got really healthy rocker in the tip and tail all the way through here. Kind of similar to that Revolt in that it's pretty low slung with like a pretty high kick right at the very ends of the ski. So that adds to a really drifty feel and bumps. It feels really wiggly. It feels like it's got a low center of gravity, but it also has got, it's just a really cool balance because it's got all this metal in it. So it felt bomb proof, especially at speed and cutting through crud. But at the same time, it pivots on a dime. You can just like slash it, give it a quick sideways pivot, just really intuitively and really quickly. Felt pretty, like, despite the metal, felt pretty quick and nimble at 104. And again, the metal is just perfect for me because it adds that like confidence inspiring feel to like really charge. But I love skis that are stiff with lots of rocker that you're able to spin. So when I'm in a tight shoot at Taos and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta shed speed, I can do that really, really quickly. But then if I'm hitting higher speeds or cutting through crud, it's got a really planted feel to it. So this just checks a lot of boxes for me for being kind of like stiff and stout, but easy to shut down and easy to turn when you need to.
Weird question on that. Is this ski a metal ski that is playful, or is it a playful ski that's got some metal in it?
No, I think it's a metal ski that's playful.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think?
I actually thought you were going to say the other one. And I think as I hear you talk about it and think about my time on it, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's not just a, I actually think that compared to like another playful metal ski up here like the ARV 106, I think that the blade feels more like a metal ski. Like to that question, I might say ARV is a playful ski that's got some metal in it.
Yeah.
And Optic would be, a metal ski that per line is surprisingly playful, maybe for how much metal's in it.
Yeah. I think that's super fair. I love this ski.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Another one of those that's in a world where we have so many options, especially in this category, it's kind of hard for skis to stand out. For me, that one has a pretty unique feel.
It totally does. Yeah. I think that was my takeaway from when we first rode them was like, this is just such a unique feeling ski that I haven't been on in a long time. So I think it checks a lot of boxes for people who are playful chargers, who want that support and that rigidity, or like a really playful skier who just wants some backbone for like a stiffer, stouter ski for stomping big cliffs and things like that.
Totally.
You can check out the Freeride World Tour and you'll see quite a lot of line skiers on this or the 114.
Badass. So. Stellar. I'm going to grab one from the outer reaches over here that we've talked about quite a bit since it was released. This is the Rossignol Sender Free 110.
Why do we still have to talk about this ski, Matt?
You picked him.
I didn't pick them. The staff picked them.
Truth.
So that speaks to why it's here
And the
again.
staff continues to love them. There is a new Sender this year. It's down in our all-mountain category. It's the pink Sender Free 100. And you can smoke the link top right now to see that video, which also has a comparison of that ski against the Rossignol Sender Soul 102. And it mentions this ski as well. So bunch of Rossies up here in the mid-fat region. But the Sender Free 110 was the first one released, and it was the first one to kind of pioneer this new direction for Rossi. So carbon alloy matrix throughout the ski. If you can pick up the crisscross pattern on the top sheets, that's what that is. You've got a piece of metal under your foot that's a little bit longer toward the tips and tails than a lot of other just binding mount plates. So it gives you a little bit more performance than those other plates that we refer to just for like binding retention. But then a good amount of splay tails and tips, pretty classic rocker line with some energetic camber under your foot. For me, it all rounds out into probably one of the most well-rounded skis in this category, just as far as it's not going to be the surfiest, but it's not going to be the most chargy. It's going to kind of do everything that you want a ski in this category to do well. So I think for somebody who 110 underfoot, so noticeably wider than like another one we compared to all mountain skis in the Anomaly. It's definitely a big mountain ski, but if you're somebody like a lot of the folks here at the shop, or you're somebody in the West especially, or all respect to the folks out east who want to ski wide skis every day, I think that's badass. Folks who want to ski a wider ski so that they're optimized for powder when they find it, and they don't care about skiing it through bumps or on groomers, or maybe they enjoy that stuff. This would be one of the first ones at the top of the list. I just think for well-roundedness, it's hard to do better than Sender Free 110 in the category.
Yeah. I think we talk about that playful charger category quite a bit, and I feel like this one fits it to a T as well. But maybe even a little bit more on the playful side, at least to me. Like really progressive mount point. It feels like it wants to get around and slash and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's funny for me. I'm 5'7", so on the shorter side of average. Maybe that's average. But I'll ski like up to low 180s or down to like upper 170s. And so this ski comes in like a 184 and then down at 178. And so I like skiing both of them. If I'm somebody who's in between choices, you kind of pick what flavor you want. Mm-hmm. And I think this ski in the sizes and with how it skis in those sizes lends itself to making that choice. So like I'll ski the 184 if I want to attack the fall line, make longer turns and charge a little harder and maybe hit some airs. And I'll ski the 178 if I want like, a little more responsive under my feet. We're kind of popping around. We're doubling over bumps. Mm-hmm. And it's a little more playful. I think it's a ski that a lot of skis kind of feel the same and you're only changing the length. If it makes sense, I think it feels like you can pick your poison if you're between sizes with this ski, and you get a great ski either way. You're just calling out different characteristics.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well. What do I pick now? I think I want to talk about the Black Crow's Corvus. Talking about picking your poison in terms of sizing. This is actually another ski I think you can do that pretty well with. This is redone from Black Crow's last year. The old Corvus was like kind of a cult classic because it was really funky. It was full rocker, but 2 sheets of metal, right? Real chargy, but also like real pivoty, and but it had like a very directional tail. So it was like very locked into turns when you had that ski on edge. The ski was super cool, but talk about skiability, pretty small skiability range, and the Corvus widens it. And some people might be a little bummed that this ski goes into like a more popular direction or a more mainstream direction, but you really can't deny that the skiability of this is so much more fun. And honestly, I just enjoy it a lot more. It's 110 underfoot. I think the old one was like 108 or 109. You get camber in the ski, not a ton, but definitely some camber. And then kind of a more taper in the tip and tail, and a more rockered tip and tail as well. So this ski feels still metal. Is it 1 or 2 sheets? 1 sheet. So you lose a little bit of heft too. The ski still feels pretty quiet, pretty damp. You don't have that kind of like full gas metal heft that you have with the 2 sheets of metal, but it does make it more kind of pivoty and more fun and easy to flick around. Feels really quick for being a 110 ski. I was pretty impressed with that. Just feels really nimble in the bumps. So if you're someone who is living in a higher snow environment, you like to live on this kind of like mid-fat surface area year round, this is going to be a ski that gives you big bang for your buck in terms of versatility. Like it's going to feel pretty quick on groomers and bumps, even if it's been a week or 2 since your last storm, as often happens out here. So we definitely can make a lot of use of this ski. But I thought it was just really fun, really skiable. And kind of like you said, I actually tested the ski in the 181, this size right here, which is a little big for me, but I could still definitely get it around. So if I'm looking for a little bit more of a harder charging day, a little bit more dampness, a little bit more weight for pushing through choppy snow, you can definitely go a little bit longer or bump down to the 176 if you want something quicker and more nimble and more, fun.
Totally. That's another one I think that manages to be unique in this category. And like I talked about the 18 meter turn radius being kind of like medium for this category. This guy's got 25 meters on the radius, so it's a much more straight side cut. And you pair that with like all the rocker and all the taper, and you get this ski that kind of wants to make like long down the fall line carves, but then can drift and smear and slash maybe better. Balancing those, doing both those things maybe better than any ski in the category.
Yeah, totally.
So it's kind of a wild feel. I think that like in the powder category, like the QST 118 has a similar thing, like a straight side cut, but it's
the QSTX.
Sorry, the QSTX. Straight side cut. With
crazy rocker.
With a lot of rocker, and it's clearly meant to be playful.
Yeah.
So it's not playful in like it's quick turn. It's playful in how it easily releases. But if you don't want to ski it that way, it can really kind of hawk the fall line.
Yeah, and this is kind of one compared to like the Reckner, the Bent, off the top of my head, even like the M Free. This is a ski, if you want it to do those things like easily release, it does want some pressure up front. Like it wants you to flex the ski and, you know, have a little bit of input in the shovels and not ski with a totally centered stance.
Totally.
At least that was my experience.
I agree for sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Punk rock, pink and black.
It looks so good this year. I love that ski. It's just like fun every day of the year for me. Yeah.
Yep. Another ski that I love, I think one way to gauge how much you actually like a ski is which ones you tell your friends about. And so when I have buddies looking for skis in this category, it's really hard for me to not recommend the Dynastar M Free 108. I talk about the 100 also in our all mountain video, which is newly redesigned for this year. 108 comes back with the same updates it had a year ago. So it's Dynastar's Hybrid Core 2.0 is the marketing smoke with PU in the core to smooth out vibrations, et cetera, et cetera. What I really like about the 108 is just how it does everything I want to do with this type of ski really well. So it's got a lot of camber underfoot. So if I want to pop off things, lay down carves, it's really reboundy and it gives you a ton of energy for that. Pretty reliable edge grip if you're negotiating like Kachina Peak at Taos and it's firm and you don't want to fall and slide all the way to the bottom. Meanwhile though, it's got a really consistent flex pattern. I think one of the biggest things we talk about always year after year with the M Free is how good its suspension is. It's just like a really strong feeling ski throughout, but with a really nice progressive flex that is just intuitive to bend. It's easy to release. It's got a bunch of tail splay, so you can play and jib with this thing. But it has a surprising amount of torsional rigidity and strength for negotiating weird snow or consequential places. Yeah.
I think when they updated it, they were looking to the athletes for what changes they would want to see. I think it was like a little bit lighter to be a little bit easier in the air and then maybe like a stiffer tail as well. And they made those changes. And I think on snow, it feels still like an M Free and still feels like it checks all those boxes that we love. It's just like a little bit more precise, especially through the rear with all that rocker. It just helps you kind of track that rear of the ski better. And yeah, that ski was so funny because like it had all this rocker, but it did feel kind of heavy. It wasn't as flickable as some of these other skis are, and it levels up in that a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think people who come to this ski, unsurprisingly from when you look at it and the shape, think they're going to get like, oh, that's an all-mountain freestyle ski. It's going to be really playful, and it's going to kind of fall apart on crappy snow. I think it is a playful all-mountains, a playful freeride ski in this waist width, but I think it kind of rises above some of its competitors for its ability to handle kind of whatever you throw at it. That's always what I see people being surprised with the M Free.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I thought this ski was going to kind of fold. And then it just kind of didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, big ups for the M Free 108.
Good P&W ski if you're like going through some heavy chop, all that good stuff. What do I have left? Okay, talk about a ski with some chop.
Whew. Buckle your seatbelt.
This is the Kastle Paragon, the Kastle Paragon 107. The ski was new last year, part of the new Paragon collection from Kastle. And we, like when we talk about the Corvus or some of these other skis, like widening that range of skiability, Kastle said no. Let's make it for the people who want a hard charging ski. It's going to be perfect for that person who is fall line hawk and wants something that's supportive at speed, predictable, precise, and can handle all of the input you're putting into a ski. It's not going to fold underneath you at all. But you still got like healthy rocker in the tip, the hollow tech tip up here. It looks like a thumbnail, but really what it does is just allow that swing weight to feel a little bit lower, especially when you're dealing with so much ski in the rest of the ski. And you've got tail rocker back there. It's not like a no tail rocker carving situation, but compared to this other stuff, this is probably the most minimal tail rocker and splay that we're looking at up here. Maybe the Maverick, but
And the Anomaly.
Oh, sorry. The Anomaly. That one's all mountain, basically.
For sure. Yeah. Doesn't even belong.
I got to ski this in Crested Butte in the 178, which is, tolerable with some more freestyle-esque rocker. But in a ski like this, definitely felt like a lot of ski. In the 170-ish, I think it would be perfect for me. Just, dealing with like big Crested Butte bumps, I was like, okay, I've got a lot of ski I've got to throw around here. But it's really badass. So I think it's an awesome ski for that person who is looking for something that's going to track really well through choppy snow and just like really hold a turn nicely, right? Like this thing isn't going to skid or wash out on you. It's going to really hold a nice carve,
Yeah, for sure. It is just, if you want a tank for this category, you get it with this. Mm-hmm. But again, it stops short of feeling 2x4-ish. Like, yeah. I think we're in such a beautiful time with skis when we can have these aggressive skis that don't feel like total planks under your foot.
Totally.
It's got some of the ZX inspiration for the Freeride chassis, but with obviously a much heftier build in the core.
Yeah.
To give it some power.
It's cool because even though the 178 isn't going to be my choice for daily skiing, it didn't feel 2x4-y. Like I've been on plankier feeling skis.
For sure.
And even at slow speeds, it wasn't that like, it's not like bucking you and it doesn't constantly want to go fast. So it just does ask if you're going to ski at a slower speed to do it with like pressure up front and with good technique and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Right on. The next one I've been accused of being a Salomon fanboy at times. And so I had to talk about the QST 106. It's been toward the top of my list in this category for several years now. It gets a little bit of an update, a big update in the graphics direction, and a little bit of an update in its construction for this year. I think on snow, what Salomon tried to do with the QST line, which is the 106, the 100, and the 94, is make each ski a little bit more purpose-built or focused on a specific type of skiing. So the 94 is a little bit more tailored to be a fun, semi-directional freeride ski on, the whole, all parts of the mountain with carving and bumps and all that stuff. The 100 is supposed to be a little bit softer than the previous version, a little more play-oriented. And the 106 gets a little bit of a refinement in the more capable big mountain kind of chargy ski direction. So that's kind of the direction they went. On snow, I think this QST feels, interestingly, like more playful and lively and poppier than the previous versions. And then it also feels a little bit more stout through the tips and tails. So Salomon added like cork, they call it cork damplifier, into the tails and into the tips. And the cork comes down almost through the rocker profile. So that really dampens the ride and smooths things out, especially when you're in like cut up snow or heavy refrozen crap or whatever. It really optimizes the QST's performance throughout the ski. A bunch of those previous QSTs, right up in the tips, when you'd hit manky snow like that, you'd kind of start to not fall apart, but you'd compromise some of your performance. If you're living in your shovels and driving a ski in this category, you'll be surprised, I think, at how well the QST 106 holds up skiing like that in cruddy snow.
Yeah.
So I've been really stoked on the newest 106. And I pretty much talked to everyone I know about it as well.
Yeah, you love this ski. So do I. Just not as much.
Give me one downside.
No, I don't even know if I have a downside.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about I guess the downside would be, you know, the ski like deceptively like looks like a really playful ski, but I feel for it to come alive, you actually do need to ski it with a directional style. Like it doesn't want to be like super centered. It like wants some input up front for sure. So that would be the only downside is like I look at the ski and I'm like, whoa, damn, look at all that rocker. Like that looks super playful. And then it's like you ski it and you think, oh, this doesn't have metal in it. And you ski it and it actually does want like a little bit more input than you'd expect.
I think that's totally a fair comment. And it's interesting because the ARV 106 Ti has metal. The QST 106 doesn't have metal. And I actually think this is a more aggressive ski than this one.
Especially this redesign. It's still definitely, if you are a QST 106 fan person, you are still going to love this ski. Like the DNA is still very much the same. I just noticed it, especially on groomers, like especially the tail, like it will hold a carve now, and it doesn't feel like as easy to like skid or wash out as you'd expect. So I feel like they leveled up the firm snow and like on trail performance compared to the old one.
For sure, kind of matching that aim at big mountain optimization. But you're totally right that it does kind of fall in this category a little differently than previous QSTs. So heads up for that one.
Yeah. But again, if you love QSTs, you'll still love this one.
Yeah.
They've just done a good job adding a slightly different spice.
Zhuzh.
Zhuzh. Okay, talking about a ski of a kind of a different flavor, I've got the K2 Reckoner 110 up here. This is a part of their new Reckoner family that came out last year. We talked about the Mindbender 106 and 106W, 106C being a really great all-around option. This one's going to live in the playful category, but just because it's in the playful category doesn't really mean it's a noodle. They did a lot of good stuff on the inside of the ski to help dampen it and give it some support, but you've got really soft ends. My favorite memory is like testing the ski, and I always do little like tail wheelies. I like to like, you know, get up on my tails, and I like super overgassed this one and almost like fell backwards. At least that's what it felt like.
If you're not falling, you're not hauling.
Exactly. I'm not even sure if I was hauling at that point though. But yeah, you got tons of rocker in the tip and tail, pretty like solid amount of camber, not as high as the M3, but this has got a really nice like pop, liveliness, and energy to it. And because they gave it a bit of gur underfoot, it's not gonna noodle out underneath you. But definitely falls on the more playful side, is gonna suit a centered stance skier really, really well. It's gonna slash, it's gonna get sideways really easily. It's gonna ski switch like a no-brainer. So it's perfect. It fits really well into that like big mountain freestyle category really well. And if even more gur sounds like fun to you, there's a K2 Reckoner KF, the Crazy Carl edition of Carl Fospet Heritage. And that one's got a little bit more rigidity. It's a little bit more wide at 114. But this is a great option for our playful skiers out there.
Yeah, totally. I think the first year K2 released the Reckoner and Volkl released the Revolt 104, I skied them back to back. That was the Reckoner 102, but I skied them back to back, and I was like, oh, the Volkl skis like a Volkl, and the Reckoner feels like a noodle. And I think since then, when K2 has refined this design and the Reckoners made the 110, I think they've really closed that gap. I think the new Reckoners are much more capable and intuitive in a wider variety of places, while still for sure being a playful ski in this category.
Yeah. Something cool about all this like tip and tail splay compared to the Revolt or that Optic, I feel like they're quite a lot surfier in soft snow. So when you do get that big day, say this is the widest ski, it's in your quiver, it's gonna give you a big bang for your buck. It's gonna float really well, feel really surfy, and be really easy to release with all that tail splay. So you're not gonna feel like you've gotta like lean back a little bit to float. So this is a great option if you're making this the widest ski in your quiver too.
Totally.
So yeah.
For sure. All right, I think I'm down to my last in this marathon here.
I think you got the Bent 110.
I've got the Bent 110. Please note, this is the special edition Grateful Dead graphic of the Bent 110, which we still have in stock. Not too many left.
Limited edition.
Limited edition.
Show them at the bottom.
The bases are really quite cool. So same exact ski as the inline graphics. This is just a graphic special edition. It's exactly the same ski. So what is that ski like? If you haven't checked out a Bent 110 yet, this is obviously coming out of the Chris Benchetler family. That was the 120 for the longest of times. Atomic widened it to be the 120, the 110, the 100, and even down to the 90. And so by adding a 110, I think they've rounded out this collection with, this is the ski in the collection. If you like skis in this waist width, because you can kind of do everything with it. It is really poppy, like all the Bents. It's got a bunch of taper. It's got that Horizon tech I talked about from Maverick in the tips and in the tails. Obviously quite a bit more splay than the Maverick in the tails, along with rocker. So it's going to be a ski that you can jib with. You can hit drops, pop, play. It's really surfy with all that tip taper. And it links really smoothly if you're in that like heavier settled pow. I think like a light ski with a bunch of taper does that really well. Like you just kind of tip it a little bit, don't over engage it, and it is an absolute pleasure to ski. So I think that's true of the 110. I think another thing that Jordan, one of the co-founders of Powder7, has noticed about the 110 is how well it surfs deep snow. Yeah, I think they have the 120 in the collection, but if you want more all-mountain versatility in your big mountain ski in this category, and you still want to get a bunch of powder performance, like check mark, X marks the spot with the Bent 110. I think it's the best option on the wall personally for if you want to throw a touring binding on this or a hybrid binding like the Shift or the High Free or the Duke PT, and have one ski that skis like a real ski. It's not a carboned out touring ski, but it's still pretty light and gives you powder surf in a package that isn't going to suck to skin with. I think that's my favorite way to use the Bent 110 is as like a powder touring option, especially with one of those hybrid bindings where you can lock in that heel with Alpine Performance heel and toe and really send it.
Yeah, this would be such a fun like midwinter low angle meadow skipping touring ski. Yeah, because it's just going to make the most of really deep snow days without it being so wide. I tap out at like 114, 116 underfoot. I really don't like going much wider than that because then once you get into like some weird chop, you're moving so much ski to get over on edge. So I like to look for skis with like the biggest bang for the buck, and I feel like this is one of them. This would be like an easy go-to like powder ski for me without going too wide.
For sure.
So
For my most telling time skiing the ski was at our ski test a couple of years ago, and we had good snow and the sun came out and we were going to go shoot a bunch of photos of the staff and with everybody and slash pow. And I had like all the racks of skis out in front of me and I grabbed this one to just go. I was like, don't overthink it. Just grab the fun one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That sums kind of the whole thing up, right? Like, don't overthink it. Just go with the fun one that you know
exactly.
It's going to be fun. So,
Did I immediately buy one of these in the Grateful Dead top sheet? Yes. Might I only hang it on my wall and not ski it? Probably not. I'll still ski it.
I was just talking to someone at Loveland who got a pair as well. He was like, yeah, I'm not going to mount it. I'm just going to put it in my house. Like, obviously.
I have a hard time with that.
I know, me too. But, you know.
Power to him, though.
Yeah.
It is beautiful artwork.
That's a Grateful Dead person right there for sure.
Yeah. What are you bringing it home with, Alex?
The good old-fashioned Atris. This
Classic.
is the Atris Birdie right here. Wouldn't be a big mountain video if we didn't talk about the Atris. Was probably like the most popular ski ever a couple years ago. And some other skis have maybe taken that crown, but it still holds a super special place in our hearts here at Powder7. We love the Atris. So this is the Atris Birdie. Same ski as the boys Atris, just a different graphic and offered in some shorter sizes. But the Atris is just talk about don't overthink it. Pick the fun ski. This is just a super versatile option. It's 105 underfoot. It used to be 108 when they did the redesign a few years ago. This totally leveled up on carving performance. It was so noticeable on groomers, just like way more snappy, way more agile. Same thing in the bumps too. If you're just skiing some like firm, scraped off, dust on crust bumps, this is going to be super responsive. Probably one of like the quickest options up here, just in terms of agility and feeling like it's, you know, moving exactly as you think. Healthy, like pretty standard rocker and camber and taper in the tip and tail. Kind of a longer turn radius at 20, but again, this feels like one that you can get around pretty quickly without too much drama. Full wood core with maybe some fiberglass and stuff in it, but feels pretty stout underfoot. Again, like I said, leveled up on that firm snow performance when you get it on edge. Feels like torsionally supportive, like right underneath your feet.
For sure. And you raised very fair comments about the QST 106 kind of requiring a little bit more input to unlock that playful character. Atris requires a lot less input. It kind of leads with that playful character like it always has. I think in the little bit narrower waist width, the latest update, that little bit of side cut just makes it even more snappy and responsive side to side, in addition to kind of longitudinally. So easily accessed play.
Yeah, this is a ski, again, I'm totally happy to put an intermediate on if it's sized appropriately, just as much as I am an expert who is hard charging and looking for a playful ski. If you size this long, it's going to give you the support that you're looking for, especially if you're looking for something playful that's not like super hard, like difficult to engage all the time. So, but sized kind of in that like high eyebrow size, a great first big mountain ski if you're looking for your first soft snow ski to add to the collection. So
for sure.
This one says,
tell us what this year's
passive aggressive.
Ooh, cheeky.
A ski made for me.
Cheeky.
Well,
dang. Is that 18, Alex?
That's 18 skis right there.
18. What a marathon. If you prefer to read the written word, you're a loser. We have this whole buyer's guide on the Liftline blog. Check out the link below. Subscribe to our channel so you'll be in the know when we do some head-to-head comparisons and we release more buyer's guide videos like this one. And per usual, we have all these skis right here in Golden at Powder7 World Headquarters and available online at powder7.com.
New and used.
New
probably
and
for all of them.
used. Probably for all of them. And if not, they will be soon. So have a great winter. If you're on these skis, you're having some of the best days of the season, in our opinion. So get after it, and we hope to see you in the mountains.
See ya.